Alright, guys, it has been literally forever since I did a recording, and just to give you a little bit of, backstory, it's pretty much to do with the pandemic and then just the way times have been recently. I work in a hospital, and work has just been never ending, pretty much. But in the end, it's still a little bit to do with my fault of not being able to find the time. So there's no one else to blame. I just want to, just hope you guys are doing great as well. Just let you guys know that, keep strong, stay strong. And if you guys, are into movies just as much as I am, I suggest you start investing in streaming services because that's a new thing. All the cinemas are down, and some are reopening, but it still feels unsafe to simply walk out there into a public cinema. So might as well invest in some streaming services and stay occupied, keep yourself sane in these troubling times. So without more to say, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right in. The Old Guard. It's a Netflix series. Sorry, movie. Oops, series once again. It's a Netflix movie, and I like Netflix when they do these kind of sci-fi-esque power kind of films. And The Old Guard is just one of those things that apparently it's a comic. I didn't know it was a comic beforehand. I just watched the film and I liked it. The comic apparently it's a lot more detailed, but the movie definitely contains a lot more action, which makes sense because in a movie you really want to work on the visual things rather than the slow-paced storytelling because it's not very suitable on the big screen. And the Old Guard is pretty much based on a comic that talks about a group of immortals. And this group of immortals apparently have lived for so many wars and time, and they, because of their many years of, being alive, what really makes them scary is not their ability to heal or live for a very long time, but their ability to keep learning, and this has caused them to become an elite group of assassins. Uh, Basically, um what do you call this? Unmatched by anyone else in the world because they have more experience than everyone else. And I like that concept. That's a very nice concept, not overpowered. Very simple. They are just like you and me. They are ordinary people at all times. They can get hurt. They can get poisoned. Uh, Only difference being the fact that after that happens, they heal and they can keep fighting. So this film is full of great, what do you call this, character development. There's also a gay couple that you will end up liking and feeling sorry for them at times, and you really like the synergy that happens between them, the way they care for each other. I've never really watched any films of, gay couples before, but I feel this was kind of nice. Um, yeah, to be honest. So yeah, that was very subtly put, nothing in your face, and also the film's lead is Charlize Theron, and she is amazing in this film. And it's nothing, really, really nothing about whether she's a female lead or whatever, but she really knows how to carry a lead character, and that's amazing. And they really need to bring out a lot more lead characters that are this strong. And I'm not saying it whether it's a man or a woman, but in general, all lead characters can look up to Charlie Theron's performance and take note what a strong lead's, charismatic character looks like, because that's what she was in this film. She leads the troop. She carries a lot of the plots in the film. A lot of the story is about her because she's like she's the oldest in the group, and she's extremely old. And apparently, she loses someone that's very important to her, and that drives her to become a living killing machine. And this story, of course, it has a lot of backstories going on, which is great and everything. But this story is focused on this girl who learns that she is now a new immortal and can now heal herself. And she ends up becoming the question of why is a new immortal suddenly appearing in this world. And it ends off with Charlize Theron losing her immortality, and they're saying probably because Charlize is going to lose her immortality. And these things don't really get explained thoroughly, but basically, no one knows when immortality is about to. I mean, your healing abilities are going to begin. and how long you'll be able to stay in this immortal form for, because their immortality is not absolute. It is it has an expiry date, and when it expires you just stop healing. And sometimes you find out in a painful way because you get shot. Then when by the time you lose your healing, you just die. Or you don't die, and then you just can't heal anymore. You become an ordinary person and you have to live out the rest of your days like the rest of us. So yeah, a lot of the sci-fi concepts in the story are not really explained, but there's a lot of backstory to it, which is pretty cool. And I feel this movie really needs a lot more coverage, a lot more explanation going on. But it focused a lot more on character development, which is not the worst thing, but just not what I would expect in a film where it tries to seem like it's a lot bigger, but just doesn't end up being that big because it really comes down to a very grounded plot line. So yeah, see, these are like medieval time shots that are really cool, really amazing concepts of just how deep the lore in the story can be, but just doesn't turn out to be all that, because end of the day it's just a bunch of assassins who just are trying to escape this kind of health organization that's trying to create some pills that can be produced by extracting the information from these immortals. And yeah, they're just running away from that organization. They're trying to save that new immortal girl, and it goes around that. That's about it. That's the gist of the film. So I don't really want to drag this out too long, but let me just give you the review before I proceed to give you my final thoughts on the film. So I'm going to rate this a 6 out of 10. And don't get me wrong, it is a really good film. It just needs to have more depth. And what I mean by that is you get these amazing, dialogues between characters and how they love each other, how they're such an amazing team. You get great action sequences, and you get some backstory, but you never understand to the very end. You never really understand why this is happening. Why they're immortal, because that's like the core part of this film. They're all able to heal and no one knows why, and even to the end the scientist that does experiments on them never gets a chance to explain or figure out why as well, and the film just ends as a mystery. And on top of that, they're a group of assassins, and they're just trying to escape this evil organization. Sometimes they take contracts to go and kill people, but that's about it. They don't seem to have a higher purpose of some sort. And also the film seems really, how can I put it, a lot of things that are like gaps, in terms of the story, like where they get their identities from, their money from. Some banks, have to recognize them. Do they have to always fly, in the black market? Uh, and if you've lived this long, people will definitely have images of you, pictures of you. And by this era, whether you like it or not, you would be popular, because definitely you have to walk on the streets eventually and, buy stuff to feed yourself, or, to just do shopping or whatever. And when that does happen, people will take a picture of you and they start investigating you. And today it's a lot more difficult to cover things up, as it was many, many years ago. So, regardless, the action sequences were pretty cool. The music was okay, not so bad. Some of the fight scenes had very generic music, but the overall tone when they show the what do you call this? These medieval shots. Those had pretty interesting music. I felt the visual effects. Didn't there wasn't really much of it, and I liked that. It felt very grounded, very realistic. But the plot is very subpar. The movie really counted on its character development, which pretty much was the only thing that carried the film. So, yep, that's about it for this film, the Netflix Old Guard. I will be dropping a review on Netflix's Project Power because I feel they're closely related, and I kind of like these sorts of superpower films, except this is not a superhero film. This is just a bunch of people with superpowers. The down to earth, very grounded kind of film, and I really like that because it shows you that in real life, when we do have powers, not all of us end up, I mean, of course, all of us will want to be superheroes at one point, but not all of us will end up becoming superheroes. Because realistically, having powers in a powerless world makes you the threat. And people will see you as a threat. Not everyone's going to worship you. Not everyone's going to celebrate the fact that you have abilities and they don't. And in the old guard, it's pretty much just these people wanting, the genetic code of these immortals to heal everyone else, and they will do anything to get it. And it turns out they're just an evil organization, but they could be a good one as well. You'll never know, and it will still make you seem like the bad guy because you have a secret that you have to keep to yourself. And I just wish they focused a lot more on scouring on why they have these powers. That'd be pretty cool. But they wanted to just leave it as a question. Perhaps they want the people who are watching to just debate over it and figure things out for themselves. Or maybe there's something in the comics and I'm completely missing it because I've not read any of the comics. Regardless, I would love, maybe a sequel or a spin off or something in the future. Or it'll be great if they just stop it as this because, I don't think this film really wants to go that far if they don't even want to explain why things are happening. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Regardless, I enjoyed it. It's a good weekend film. I hope you guys did as well. If you guys feel that there's a lot more things to the film that I missed out, please let me know because I really really wanted to enjoy this film a lot more than I ended up doing. Uh, because I really liked the concept that they were introducing in the beginning. It's really mysterious. The characters were great. The team was great. But it just didn't live up to my expectation. So, yep, what can I say? All right, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Adios.